Cesar Chavez was born on a small farm near Yuma, Arizona. During the Great Depression, Cesar's family was forced off their farm and moved to California in 1937, where they became migrant farm workers. Cesar was 10 years old when he began working in the fields. In 1945, Cesar joined the U.S. Navy and fought in World War II. In 1948, he married Helen Favela and raised 8 children in East San Jose, where he and Helen taught farm workers to read and write so they could become U.S. citizens. Chavez became an organizer in 1952 when he went to work for the Community Service Organization. He became a coordinator for voter registration drives and fought racial and economic discrimination. In 1962, Chavez resigned his post at the CSO and moved his family to Delano, California, where he and Dolores Huerta founded the National Farm Workers Association. Chavez once said, "It is ironic that those who till the soil, cultivate and harvest the fruits and other foods that fill your tables with abundance have nothing left for themselves." From his experience as a farm worker, Cesar knew the harsh working conditions that farm workers endured. This motivated him to start the battle to improve the lives of farm workers. He began doing marches and strikes to put pressure on the growers. Chavez insisted that the work to improve conditions be nonviolent. Therefore, he started a fast because the people who worked with him wanted to resort to violence, and he would not stop until the rest of the workers stopped wanting to use violence to gain their rights. Cesar's methods of nonviolence attracted important politicians, including Robert F. Kennedy. He soon befriended him, and so Robert helped Cesar in the fight for the rights of the workers. Robert was even there when Cesar ended his first fast and sat next to him when he ate his meal to end the first fast. Some of the worst conditions that farm workers dealt with were they had no bathrooms, they didn't get paid enough for all the work they did. Sometimes they were subjected to violence, and when pesticides were sprayed on the plants and the farm workers worked with them, they yelled all over themselves. Even after the child labor laws, growers didn't care that children had to work out there just to help their families. Even if they got hurt, they still had to work, and there were no medical plans or insurance if the kids or the adults got hurt during their work. On June 5th, 1968, disaster strikes. Robert F. Kennedy is shot. The farm workers panicked. They felt that if they lost a powerful political figure that supports them, all hope of winning the battle is lost. But Cesar is not ready to give up, so he urges them on. In an interview, Mr. Arturo Rodriguez, current leader of the UFW, who took over after Cesar Chavez died, talks about the violence that took place while the UFW moves on with the fight for the rights of farm workers.
What are the pieces of legislation that resulted from the movement?
They have what they call porta potties that are brought in there. There was no hand washing facilities. So the workers would have to go to the restroom right out there in the field. And, not have no place to wash their hands. For the women would stand around and try to give a woman cover so she could use the restroom in the best way possible. There wasn't drinking water being provided for the workers. There wasn't any laws that covered and protected farm workers. Like today, we have worker compensation. So if a worker gets hurt, then they can go to the state fund to be able to get payment for whatever might have happened to them there in the fields, whatever kind of injury that occurred there. We didn't used to have unemployment insurance. So when the harvest was over, that was it. That's why folks migrated from place to place, because they had to keep on moving in order to be able to keep paying the bills. And with unemployment insurance, it gave them a chance to settle down in a particular area and be able to get funds to help cover themselves during the time that they weren't working, when it wasn't harvest time.
Chavez's legacy has been helping and improving the lives of farm workers. As Mr. Rodriguez stated, these improvements include better housing arrangements, more access to medical services, and sometimes community clinics reach out to the farm workers at farm camps. The testimony of a farm worker illustrates this in the following segment of an interview.
Ya no se trata a las personas como antes, se trata un poco más mejor. Ahorita donde estamos aquí viviendo, pues tenemos todos los servicios. Tenemos aire acondicionado, pues todo lo que necesitamos, sí lo tenemos.
¿Tienes suficiente para mantener tu familia o tu casa?
Sí, sí. Y yo pienso que pues de menos a unos 11.
Nowadays, children of farm workers are more likely to attend school regularly, thanks to their parents' ability to settle down. Although the fight for living wages is still going on today, the pay of farm workers is higher than what it used to be before the work of Cesar Chavez. Some of the most common requests of farm workers is that they be treated with respect, justice, and dignity. Part of the problem to secure living wages is that farm workers are not often U.S. citizens. Therefore, they are not allowed to vote. Thus, the issues of immigration reform and farm workers' rights are closely tied.
We've always been involved in immigration reform. When the last, I should say, immigration law was passed in 1984, during that particular time, 86, I'm sorry. We were very much involved in a part of that. Dolores Huerta did a lot of work there in ensuring that farm workers were covered under that immigration law, Dolores and Cesar. And this time around, we started 14 years ago, back in 2000, to begin to bring up the issue of it was time again to bring about immigration reform, because such a large percentage of farm workers that are out there today do not have papers, are not documented, do not have access to that. So as a result, we want to make sure the American public really understands that farm workers are good citizens like everyone else in this country. They pay taxes, and that they're deserving of having the same opportunities as all of us do, to be able to go to work and be assured they're going to come home at night, be able to take care of their families in the best way possible, and continue to work in agriculture.
Are you in any way involved in helping North Carolina farm workers?
You know, only through an organization that we work very closely with called the Farm Labor Organizing Committee that I met earlier. And someday, we hope to even do more for farm workers there in North Carolina. And certainly immigration reform is one of those things that we're doing for farm workers all throughout the United States.
Is there anything else that you think my classmates and teachers need to know about the struggle for farm workers' rights?
You know, I think it's important for the students in your class as well as at your school to really just understand that. You know, we just like folks to think about when you sit down at the table or you sit down to eat, wherever you are, that you think about those women and those men and too often still children that are out there harvesting the fruits and vegetables that we consume every day, and that it's important for them to be treated with the same dignity and respect that we all deserve here in America. And so that, we thank you for really doing this idea and your interest in farm workers and bringing this issue to your fellow students that you have there, to your teacher and classmates. As always, si se puede.
Thank you for your time.
Si se puede.
Si se puede. Cesar Chavez was a very humble man and always put others before him. He would stop at nothing to make sure all of his plans would be nonviolent. On April 23, 1993, at the age of 66, Cesar Chavez died peacefully in his sleep. The following quote from Cesar Chavez describes his passion for social justice. "We have suffered unnumbered ills and crimes in the name of the law of the land. Our men, women, and children have suffered not only the basic brutality of stoop labor and the most obvious injustices of the system, but they have also suffered the desperation of knowing that the system caters to the greed and callous and not to our needs. Now we'll suffer for the purpose of ending the poverty, the misery, and the injustice, with hope that our children will not be exploited as we have been. They have imposed hunger on us, and now we hunger for justice."